Okay. So hello, I'm Angie Didway. I'm the Director of Career Services for Shawnee State University. And Jenny, not sure where you went.
You don't see me?
There you are. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Jenny Richards. She's a naturalist at Shawnee State Park. I almost said Shawnee State University. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And we are recording this session as well. So if you have any friends or classmates who wanted to come that weren't able to attend, you can let them know. We'll put out a YouTube link later on and they can watch it. But Jenny, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in today, and I'm excited to have you as a potential volunteer in the future. I've been a naturalist at Shawnee State Park for the last 20 years, and I'm a local. I was raised right here. I actually went to Shawnee State University my first year of college, and working in the park is a really special thing, and people who volunteer there are usually really interesting people who love the environment and love to be outside. So I hope that in the future we will be able to do some projects together. And in this presentation, I have just put a few slides together, colorful, beautiful pictures of things we've done in the past with Shawnee State University and things that I hope to do in the future. Some of them may sound more appealing than others, and I think I have something for everyone, really. But we'll go ahead and share this now. Okay, so this is our park logo here, the Ohio State Parks and Watercraft. Just a few years ago, we merged with the Division of Watercraft, so now we are Parks and Watercraft, and we do a lot of really cool paddling programs. So even if you don't come and do a volunteer job, you may decide to come and, you know, take in a program. We offer paddling programs with kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, and canoes every summer. Although not this summer, we didn't, but we'll get back to it. Okay, let's see. In the past, students have actually done some really impressive work. These are Shawnee State University students who built me a vernal pool. I don't know if you know what that means, but the word verna it means spring, and a vernal pool is a pool of water that only has water in the spring, and it supports amphibians and little macroinvertebrates. Other things have been litter removal, native plant beds, taking care of them. Actually, I used to partner with, there was an AmeriCorps at Shawnee. Is there still AmeriCorps still active at Shawnee?
Well, there are various AmeriCorps positions, you know, not just related to natural science. You know, I know we've had them in different departments across campus. So,
for a couple of years, I started a pioneer garden here, and it was through the AmeriCorps program at Shawnee State University, and it was really cool. So I'm going to talk on that a little bit here too. So some things that we've done in the past have been, you know, all the things that you could imagine doing in a park. And I've been working with Shawnee State University for the entirety of my career. Okay, you want to share this cute little video? This is one of the things that I feel really passionate about right now, and I'd love to have help with, and that's invasive species removal. So I asked that Angie share this little video with you, made by the Nature Conservancy, to tell you a little bit about what an invasive species is and why we should use native plants in our landscapes. So okay. Angie is going to share that video.
And I'll wait just a minute. We had a new person join us. Hi, Tori. Thanks for joining. Can you tell me what your last name is?
Oh, she's muted. Tori, you're muted.
Am I good now?
Yeah.
My last name is Ohlers.
How do you spell that?
It's O-E-H-L-E-R-S.
Okay. Thanks for joining. Okay, guys, I'm going to show a video.
It's just a 3-minute video about invasive species, and it's going to teach you a little bit about why I want your help removing them from our park.
All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Our forests, prairies, lakes, and rivers provide so much. They are home to countless plants and animals. They give us recreation, beauty, and a place to get away. But nature doesn't have it so easy these days. Our natural areas are facing one of their biggest challenges yet: invasive species. Most invasive species have come from Europe or Asia, largely by accident, but sometimes on purpose, for uses such as landscaping or erosion control, not knowing what they could do to our natural landscapes. With none of the predators or natural competitors from their homeland, invasive species thrive and spread aggressively. Species like glossy buckthorn can take over a wetland, usually with devastating consequences. In the understory of a forest, an invasive like garlic mustard can push out native species. Imagine your favorite forest without a springtime wildflower display or any morel mushrooms to pick. And without a diverse native plant community, our fellow creatures won't have the food and shelter they need to survive and reproduce. Invasive species take over and consume all of the resources. They push out native species, leaving us with a monoculture of just invasives. And invasive species come with a huge price tag. The annual cost to the United States economy is estimated at $120 billion, with over 100 million acres suffering from invasive plant infestations. So what can we do about this problem? We can be smart and get involved. We can all play our role by only planting native or non-invasive plants at home, and by volunteering to help stop the spread of invasive species in nature. The Nature Conservancy has volunteer work days throughout the year. There's always an invasive plant to be pulled and an impact to be made. Join us on a work day and join us in fighting the spread of invasive species. Visit nature.org/invasives to learn more.
A lot of people don't know about invasive species. It's unfortunate, but people are still planting them today. You can go to certain department stores and buy things that are so invasive to put in your yard that spread all over the place. And the problem with invasives is that they don't feed the native wildlife. They feed the animals that, you know, evolved with them where they grew naturally. So we do have some invasive species in Shawnee State Park. And the next few slides I'll share with you are some of the plants that I want you to help me control. But the reason that I shared this video about the Nature Conservancy with you is I have a few really important things to say to you. Right now, where you're going to college, I don't know if you kids, you youngsters are local kids or if you're from other places, but right now where you are situated is the most biologically diverse place in the whole state of Ohio. With the Shawnee State Forest being 64,000 acres and the edge of Appalachia Preserve being 22,000 acres right next to us, we're actually adjacent to each other. We have a huge piece of biodiversity right here. And with invasive species coming in, wherever, you know, people are, there's invasives. We do need to do our part to try to help control that and keep the natural landscape and the biodiversity, because we all thrive on biodiversity. Everybody lives a good, healthy life with lots of different varieties of plants. So I'm going to show you some pictures. And so if you'd like to be involved in helping fight invasive species in the park, we'll have to talk about that. So we can talk one-on-one later. You can have my email address after this is over, and we can coordinate on how you can help. But let me share my screen again. And here we go. This is one of the first ones. This was planted, a lot of the things that were planted here by the Department of Agriculture actually to help with erosion or feed wildlife, or just because they looked pretty in the yard. And this is one of them. And although the berries are edible, This is a very, the plant just gets super duper thick, and it provides cover for little tiny rodents, and the rodents can live a longer life, and rodents carry Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and they can hide from predators and live a longer life, and that way, you know, carry more disease. So this is actually a plant that can be associated with humans getting diseases. So there's a bunch of this right behind the Nature Center at Shawnee State Park. So we definitely need to work on helping with barberry, removing barberry. It's got bright yellow roots. So if you pull up the roots, they're bright yellow. And they're sharp thorns. So some of the things, I'm showing you these photos. These are not actually my photos. These are photos that I got off, you know, online. Unfortunately, I haven't taken pictures of invasives. I've been taking pictures of lots of plants, but not normally invasives. But this shows you what the plant looks like. This is a really wicked one too. This is bush honeysuckle. And bush honeysuckle, there's three varieties that grow here in Ohio, and they have a hollow stem. They have berries and leaves longer than other trees that are native. They're one of the last to lose their leaves. That's a good way to identify them. And they have opposite leaves. So the leaves come out across from each other on the stem. Just 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm sorry about that. There was a timer going off. Okay, so yeah, they're opposite leaves, red berries, and these were planted to also feed wildlife and as an ornamental, but the problem is the fruits aren't as nutritious as our native fruiting trees are. So the animals are drawn to them and they eat them, but they don't get the proper vitamins and minerals that they need. So not only is it a problem because it creates a monoculture, but it also fools the animals into thinking there's good food there, a good food source, and there really isn't. Autumn olives are another invasive, and these spread like crazy. And believe it or not, those little red berries are quite delicious. They are not in the olive family at all. I don't know why they call them autumn olives, but that's just a common name. And the leaves look like they've been spray painted with silver spray paint. I don't know if you can see that. And also the berries do as well. They look like they've been spray painted with silver. So yeah, these spread like crazy, so we got to get rid of them. This is another one that's just taking over in a meadow. I planted a native plant meadow in the park about 15 years ago, and this bush clover right here is just, I mean, it just, once it takes hold, it just takes over. And a lot of these things have seeds that if they, when they do make their seeds, they can lay dormant in the soil for like 15 years or something like that. So this one says 20 years, and it's really deep rooted. It's hard to remove, but students from Shawnee have actually helped me work on this plant before in the park, and we've hand pulled it. So I don't know. Some of these things you have to use chemicals on. It says you have to use a chemical called Garlon, and we actually will not be using any chemicals with you guys. You could help me pull things, or we could cut things back, and then after that we would I would add the chemical if there was a chemical to be added, but we wouldn't have you students adding any chemicals. But you could actually help me cut things, and then I could spot chemical if we needed to do that. And this is one that's pretty invasive too. This is a grass, an annual grass, and it spreads all over and is really shade tolerant too. So it spreads through forests, and it needs to be pulled by hand before it makes seeds, because its seeds will lay dormant in the soil for a long time as well. And you can tell the Japanese stiltgrass because it's got a silver stripe down the center of the leaf. Garlic mustard is one that was mentioned in the video. It's an early blooming flower, and it's got wrinkly type looking leaves. Mustards have 4 petals, so it's got 4 petals. And there's a butterfly, the falcate orange tip, it likes to lay its eggs on native mustard species. We have several varieties of toothworts that are native mustards and cresses that are native mustards, and they like to lay their eggs on the native mustards, but they also will lay on this one. And unfortunately, the eggs don't even hatch when they are laid on this variety of mustard. And I don't know if it's a chemical that's released in the garlic mustard that causes the eggs to not be fertile or what. I haven't done a lot of research on that, but we do need to get out there and do some pulling of that. And one of the most fun things about doing work like this is that you're surrounded by nature. So you'll be seeing a lot of wildlife and hearing birds singing in the trees. And it's just a really fun and very rewarding thing to do when you finish pulling a big patch of garlic mustard and you see all the little sprouts of native things coming up underneath. You just feel really good about what you've done. Also, people eat this stuff, you know, you can make garlic mustard pesto. It's really good. I posted these resources. If you're interested in learning more about invasive species, I posted these resources in the chat. These are all organizations that really help work on removing invasive species. And I thought maybe after you learned a little bit more about this, you may be, you know, inclined to go learn a little more. So we have a lot of special events, and I haven't had a lot of students helping me out with special events. Every year there's a trout derby, the fourth Saturday in April, and we have thousands of people who come to trout derby, it seems like, at least a couple thousand. And they fish all day, and the biggest trout wins prizes. And there's a kiddie derby area, and in the kiddie derby area, we have a group, an organization called the Friends of Shawnee State Park. It's a nonprofit organization who tries to improve all of our events. That's their goal and their mission, is to make things more fun for park visitors. And we have a table set up where the kids can make their own fish print tote. And I'm always the one that's there helping the kids make a fish print on a tote. And I have so many other things that I need to be doing. It would be really nice to have some young volunteers come and help kids get their lines untangled and help with the fish totes. And I offer a fishing program for beginning fisher people at that event as well. And a lot of times 30 kids will show up. So that would be really nice for managing the crowd if anyone would be interested in helping with special events. Every year, the last full week of March, we have a litter removal, a litter, a spring clean.
Jenny, you're cutting out.
Yep. Unfortunately, a lot of anglers, fisher people, will actually throw their litter out or not take their trash out with them. And so around the lakes, there's usually
Jenny, are you
be out in the forest and do something nice. You can go out and you can, you know, pick up trash, throw it in a bag, and we have dumpsters throughout the park that you can just put the trash that you pick up right in one of the dumpsters. There's a dumpster at the campground, there's a dumpster at Turkey Creek Lake, and there's one at our maintenance barn. So if you felt like you wanted to pick up litter on trails, that's always a great service to provide. This is a really fun program that you may be interested in if you're really outgoing. The spider here is Dr. John Beddick, the wolf spider. Another student, past student who just graduated from Shawnee State University, is always the bat. But I have many of these beautiful Hollywood grade costumes of animals. And one night in the year, it's the third Saturday in October, we have people dress up in these costumes and go out on the trail in the night, and we lead candlelit tours past the characters. And each tour, there's about 15 people per tour. We stop for 2 minutes, and the character does a 2-minute skit, which we have some skits already made up, but a lot of characters like to make up their own. Some are poetry. Dr. Beddick does a poem, and it's really great. And some are songs. So I don't know if you are theatrical or you'd like to lead groups. There's all sorts of things that could be done for the Unhaunted Forest program. We usually have around 400 people show up for that. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, we decided to take all the daffodils and the tulips out of our flower beds and go native in Shawnee State Park. I mean, people can can see so much more wildlife if they use native plants. And we figured, hey, people are coming here to see the wildlife. They want to see the insects. They want to see everything. So let's just, in every flower bed, we're going to go native. And we partnered up with local garden clubs and schools and all sorts of other people to put in local flower beds. Now this, the picture on the right is our camp store and our campground. And that is actually a monarch way station now. I think there's 6 species of native milkweeds that bloom in this tiny little flower bed. And so we see a lot of monarch caterpillars munching away on milkweed leaves, and then the chrysalis, and then the butterflies emerging and flying away. So that's a really fun. But they all work. There's weeds that come up. There's some of the plants get really super tall and they need to be cut back in the fall, and seeds need to be redistributed, you know, across different meadows that we're creating native plant meadows in. So there's all sorts of work to be done in the native plant beds. The Nature Center one needs completely redone because we just took it all apart to build a new deck out there. And this is the project I was talking about that the AmeriCorps volunteer at Shawnee State Park, or at Shawnee State University, started with me years and years ago. I don't even know, I might've been, you know, close to 15 years ago. We created a pioneer garden because we moved the 3C cabin over to the Nature Center. And so we have this pioneer cabin. We put in peach trees, apple trees, some brambles, and I think it's really nice to show kids where food comes from. So we plant cucumbers and tomatoes and things like that. And it would be really awesome to have some dedicated volunteers who would come and help me with the whole project from beginning of gardening season to the end. Somebody who wanted to come out every week and work on gardening and do it during the time that the Nature Center is open, so other people who visit the Nature Center can see someone gardening and then help too. So it's like just trying to promote growing our own food and eating locally and being sustainable. It's really important to me. Monitoring bluebird trail. We have a bluebird trail that is in the park, and we have maybe 30 boxes out. And we've had thousands of fledglings since we started this project. And the data is recorded weekly by volunteers and then turned into Cornell University. And then eventually it goes on to the Smithsonian Museum. So, you know, checking out the baby bluebirds and watching their progress and recording it. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful, fun thing to do. And the last and most favorite of most people, I never have problems finding helpers for the Nature Center, which is open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 3 from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And also in the off season, it's open some on weekends in the warm months. But in this project, we need help with animal care, talking to people. We get thousands of visitors to the Nature Center every year, and cleaning the facilities, design ideas. Like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. So some fresh eyes on my program, you know, on my schedule, on everything that I'm putting out there. I love criticism, constructive criticism. So if anybody wants to come and help me make new designs, you know, there and do new things, I'd love to have that. And you can see the pioneer cabin there in the picture with me and the kids. We have sidewalk chalk. We have a natural playground, which is really awesome. So yeah, that's my last slide. I'd love to have any of you who are interested reach out to me. I will share my email address right here on the side. You can email me. You can also call me. I'll give you my state cell phone number if we want to have a conversation. And so to become a park volunteer, you fill out a form, a volunteer form, and it's good for 2 years. And then you're covered, you know, in workman's comp if something were to happen to you while you're working in the park. And yeah, you fill out the form and you pick a job that sounds meaningful to you. And that's really the most important part about volunteering, is finding something that's meaningful to you. Because if you have passion about it, you'll really enjoy yourself, and your work will, you know, your passion will shine through in your work. So yeah, picking one of the projects that sounds fun to you. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I think we lost one of them. about halfway through, but there are still, well, there's still 3 on. Katie, Mallory, Tori,
You guys are muted if you want to share, if you have any
there's
questions.
4 of them. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions at all?
Do you have anything specifically that can be done in the winter?
Yeah, invasive species removal. Yeah, there's plants out there that need to be pulled right now. Right now, I'm not offering programs. We're all shut down for the year for face-to-face programs. But if you wanted to do anything in the winter, I would meet up with anybody in the park, show you what I wanted you to do as far as invasive species removal. And then you could just come and go, at your leisure on your own. You wouldn't need me there to hold your hand. You just need to see what plants would need removed. And it's hard work. It's really hard work. But I like hard work.
Katie Parsley says, I don't have any questions, but I'm excited to volunteer. So
good. So you guys have my email address. Do you want my phone number too? I can put it up there.
Is this your state cell phone number, Jenny?
Yep, I'm putting up my state cell phone number right here.
Okay.
And sometimes phone conversations are better. And I don't mind getting a call. I usually work Monday through Friday this time of year until 4:30. But there's also a Shawnee State Park Facebook page. So you are welcome to go there and message me in Messenger. And you can see a lot of the videos that I've been making. If you look at Facebook, maybe you don't. There have been a lot of little videos about plants and animals that I've been putting out while I haven't been doing programs.
Okay, and I'll send out an email with all this contact information for you, Jenny, to the people who attended.
Yeah.
And
thanks for showing up, and I'm happy that you're interested in being a volunteer.
All right. Okay. Well, Jenny, I want to thank you for doing this, providing this opportunity for our students. Looks like most of the ones who showed up are biology majors for the most part. So obviously you're talking about things that would be very great interest.
Interesting to them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if any of you have questions for me, I'm in the Career Services office in Massey 124, and I'll send you my contact information as well if you need anything. But I'll send you an email with some of the links to the things that Jenny talked about, to their Facebook page and her email and her phone number in case you want to talk further with her. And if you need anything from the Career Services Department, feel free to stop by and let us know. All right. Well, thank you, Jenny.
Volunteer jobs or opportunities sometimes turn into work as well. The young guy that I just hired actually to work with me was a volunteer for me. And I hired him, and he's got a naturalist position now. So that's another thing that I'd like to add. Volunteering helps build your resume and helps you get your foot in the door in organizations that are sometimes quite difficult to find work in. So yeah, make sure you find something that is really interesting to you and go do some volunteer work to see if that's the path you want to take.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks so much, Jenny.